Usually it would be worked on every day in, day out. Ain't nobody working. Not a soul.
The Hispanic workforce is pretty much gone out here.
Our workers, the Hispanics, they will be up there. They don't want this to get wet. All those houses are sold, getting wet more than they have to and getting destroyed by the humidity. Well, they pay for them already.
This is not good. This is not good. I'm not seeing a lot of workers here. I'm not seeing a lot of movement going on here. This is not good. From a real estate standpoint, if you're already under contract for a property that's under construction, expect a lot of delays. And if you're looking for a new built property, expect prices to go up because there is a ridiculous shift taking place right now in the workforce. And unfortunately, that check is going to be passed on to us, the consumers. This is so sad.
Something that I've been talking about in my videos. Now, here's the thing, right? This is why we're going to have another reverse market crash. Now, the first reverse market crash was during COVID. I'll put the picture up for you to see. We had a sharp move up, about 14% in real estate appreciation in about a year or 2 years or so. Now, we're going to see that again, but this time it's a double whammy. Now, during COVID, it was just we had supply chain issues, right? We couldn't get certain materials because, there was issues with if you remember during the supply chain. So, for example, when it comes to building a home, there was a 3-month wait on garage doors. So people had their homes built, but they didn't have garage doors because there was the supply chain was so messed up. And because of that, it was a wait on the garage doors. And I'm just using garage doors as an example of, something that was being brought into the United States that we needed to build homes. Well, we know that, especially in my last video, I talked about how, a lot of undocumented workers work for these builders and they are being deported, right? These larger builders, the Lennar and, some of these others, they use undocumented workers or they hire GCs that didn't hire undocumented workers to, do certain tasks, right? Labor. And because they're gone, that is going to increase the cost of labor. OK, I'll get to the reason why it's a double whammy in a second. That's going to increase the cost of labor now, right? Not only increase it, but slow it down. And that gets passed on to the consumer. I know a lot of people feel as though that real estate is expensive, but here's what you have to understand. America is a capitalistic society. It is all about business, right? And it doesn't matter what the business is. The cost always gets passed on to the consumer because you have to look at it like this. Let's take Lennar, for example. These are publicly traded companies. They have to, satisfy the shareholders. A lot of you all buy stocks. A lot of you are those shareholders, right? You own Tesla, you own Nvidia, right? They pass costs on to consumers. Elon Musk does it all the time. Elon Musk is in your pocket twice. When you drive a Tesla, he's passing costs on to the consumers, and he has government contracts that, us as United States citizens, when we pay taxes, we are paying for that, right? We are paying him. So he's in your pocket twice. But most people don't complain about that because they don't look at it that way, right? But a lot of people want the price of housing to come down when, with what the Trump administration is doing, it is going to make that very difficult, right? Because of how businesses operate. So, even if they do go hire American, laborers and stuff to come and do some of this work, that cost will get passed on. It will increase the price of homes and it will slow down the amount of homes that can be built. Therefore, creating very similar to COVID where we have, more buyers in the market than we do sellers or homes being built, which is why we had the first crash up, right? Now, here's the thing. Interest rates are falling. OK, we're in the middle to low sixes right now. If we get into the fives, it's going to get even uglier. Now, on to the double whammy. Now, Donald Trump, we know, has implemented these tariffs. Well, guess what? Those tariffs now will cause the price of materials to also increase. So during COVID, we had the scarcity. But here in 2025, we're going to have expensive labor and expensive materials. So again, that's going to cause The cost of building and the cost of rehabbing is going to slow it down a little bit, right? So we're going to have lower interest rates, but we're going to have inventory that is dragging because we can't. It's going to take longer to build. It's going to cost more to build. It's going to take longer to rehab. It's going to cost more to rehab. Now, most people don't really understand tariffs.
To prove he's on the hook for the tariffs, Muscat showed us his invoice from U.S. Customs. Can you explain to us what exactly this is and show us in terms of who is paying the tariff?
When we import the shoes into the United States, U.S. Customs and Border Control sends us an invoice and takes the money out of our account. Once the importer pays that tariff, it's part of our cost of goods, and it affects our selling price accordingly. It lists the product we brought in and what the duty rate is. And in this particular group, we had 3 or 4 different products. Some were at 6% duty, some were at 12.5% duty. And the aggregate of all of this came to a total duty of $6,133.90. For this shipment, we were billed that amount, and U.S. Customs pulled that amount from our checking account at Chase Bank.
So not China's bank account,
No,
but
we
your
paid-
bank
we paid
account.
for it, yes.
Muscat says higher tariffs will translate into higher prices for his consumers.
And see, that right there is the key that people miss, right? So we don't have enough workers to build. The ones that we do have, we're going to have to pay them more. And some of the materials, right? And, I'm just guessing. I don't really know which materials come from overseas or from China, from Mexico, from Canada. Let's just say doorknobs, right? Locks, like stuff like that. If that stuff is made somewhere else, well, now it costs more to get that. So then now they're going to have to increase or add that to the price of the home. Okay. That's what a lot of people, really don't understand. But once you add those things, the slowdown in the labor, the price of materials increasing, it is going to be very tough. In addition to mortgage rates coming down, it's going to be very tough in the real estate market. Like I said, we're going to have another reverse crash. During COVID, we had the first reverse crash. Next, we're going to have the second one, and the prices are going to accelerate. Now, anyone out there that already owns real estate, you're going to see an extreme increase in equity, right? And for anybody buying, it's going to be, especially during the spring market, the spring and the summer markets when most people are moving around, it's going to be very competitive. And my market is very competitive right now. I've been, showing homes every day for the past like 8 hours, every day, like 8 hours a day for the past 3 or 4 or 5 days or so. Okay. And even with cash buyers, it is very competitive still. Some of these homes are getting, 10 offers from different cash buyers. It's crazy right now. Because again, there isn't, in my area, it's not a lot of inventory, unfortunately. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen during the spring market and see, and what's going to be one of the biggest factors is the mortgage rates. How low will they go? The lower they go, the worse it's going to get. The more people are going to enter into the market, and the harder it's going to be, the more competitive, and the higher prices are going to accelerate. So that's going to be a very big component. Now, if the mortgage rates were to stay, or were to go back to like the 7s or something, it may balance out and be all right. But the lower they go, especially with the way Trump is demanding that all, interest rates, which they're lumping mortgage rates into that, come down, it's going to get worse and worse in the housing market. And again, it all depends on how you look at it. If you own, you're going to see appreciation. And if you're trying to buy, it's going to be very competitive depending on where you live. Some markets have more inventory, like Texas, I've heard, and some of the Carolinas have a little bit more inventory than we have over here on the East Coast. Over here on the East Coast, it's not really a lot of inventory, and builders are building, but they can't build fast enough. And once they finish a neighborhood, that neighborhood sells out pretty quickly, even before they even finish. Most of these neighborhoods up here sell out pretty quickly. So let me know where you're at. Let me know what it's looking like out there. But these tariffs just started, so we won't really see the effects of it or feel it maybe for, or see the numbers maybe for a couple of months from now, really. So we'll see what happens, man. But either way, I appreciate y'all tapping in. Let's get this money no matter what.